This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
Good afternoon, West Michigan. I'm Evan Dean with a breaking news update out of Lansing. That is where Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette is holding a news conference in regards to his investigation into MSU. Let's take a listen in.
Thank you for coming this afternoon. The purpose of this news conference is to provide you with the latest information regarding my department's ongoing investigation of what happened, what the heck is happening at Michigan State University. The prosecution of Larry Nassar began in October of 2016 when I was contacted by Jim Dunlap, the chief of police of Michigan State University. Chief Dunlap asked me for help in determining criminal charges against Nassar. Jim provided immense evidence of predatory sexual abuse of young women, young girls, by Nassar. I immediately agreed to his request. We had the will, we had the determination, and we had the ability to get the job done. And we did. On November 22nd, 2016, we filed criminal charges against Nassar. I put together an outstanding team of lawyers and investigators. And 1 year later, Nassar pleaded guilty to 10 felony counts of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree. Now, as a condition of Nassar pleading guilty, I insisted that at Nassar's sentencing, that each and every victim would have the opportunity, if she chose, to provide a victim impact statement in open court or to have her statement read in court. This was important. During the prosecution of this case, there was a gag order that silenced the survivors of Larry Nassar, as well as taking away my ability to acknowledge the hard work of my team that put Nassar away for life. So at this moment, let me introduce our outstanding prosecution team who helped convict Nassar. Angie Povolitis, Robin Liddell, Chris Allen, and Becca Snyder. Would you please stand? Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. What a superb job you did fighting for the victims of the brutality of Larry Nassar. Thank you. So the prosecution of Nassar has been going on for just over a year. Our internal preparation and our internal investigation of Nassar and MSU has been going on for some time. It was my intention to announce the composition of our team, our investigatory team, after the sentencing of Larry Nassar in Eaton County next week. Now, why? Well, to ensure that every voice of every survivor had been heard, because each victim deserved their day in court. But if we have learned anything from the Nassar sentencing in Lansing, that it is too many voices of too many victims had been unheard for too long. Of the many decisions we made in the Nassar prosecution, one of which that I'm most proud is the decision to insist upon victim impact statements. I refuse to let Nassar plead without this requirement being fulfilled. Now, the voices of all these young women have changed Michigan, our state, and have changed MSU forever. I was in the courtroom on that very first day in Ingham County at the sentencing hearing to see and to hear and to listen to these women. These were young girls who were robbed of their innocence in the most tender of years. It was one of the most compelling experiences I have ever had. They were brave and their words were strong and wise, but beyond their years, these young women were models of leadership, profiles in courage, Kennedy-esque, I think, facing Nassar, their abuser, with grace and power. These young women opened the eyes of the world to the horrific sexual predator at MSU named Larry Nassar. In the days since Nassar's sentencing in Ingham County, 156 victim impact statements later, and more women bring in more and more information forward, so many events have occurred. It is abundantly clear that a full and complete investigation of what happened at Michigan State University from the president's office down is required. Now, this investigation is and will continue to be independent. It will be thorough. It will be transparent. And it will be prompt. My department in this investigation will find out who knew what and when, who took action, who failed to take action, what did or did not happen, and what should have happened. One fact bears repeating. We need to keep this in mind all the time, because there's so much information swirling out there that the most important focus must be the survivors. This is about them. These strong survivors and their families deserve nothing less. But they also deserve something else as well. They need to know that their voices are being heard, being listened to, and acted upon, and that we will pursue justice and go wherever the facts and the evidence takes us. Let's be very clear. No individual and no department at Michigan State University is off limits. I've often said that there is one system of justice, and the rules apply to everybody the same way, one set of rules. I've instructed my department this is priority one, this investigation. And that's why for the past many weeks, I've assembled a team that includes our Chief Deputy, Laura Moody, our Chief Legal Counsel, Eric Restuccia, two of our top lawyers here at the Department of Attorney General. I've also detailed two of our most talented and experienced lawyers on this investigation. Richard Cunningham, head of our criminal division, will be deeply engaged. And one of our top litigators, Christina Grassi, will be project manager for this investigation. With a background in civil litigation, Christina has served as first assistant in the State Operations Division. She has managed some of our department's most complex, most complicated, and significant civil litigation, and is known as a tough litigator with vast experience. Mr. David Dwyer will be the Department of Attorney General's key investigator. This is a priority. This effort is significant, and because of its importance, I've selected Mr. Bill Forsyth as Special Independent Counsel of the MSU investigation. Bill is the past president of PAM, the Prosecuting Attorneys Association of Michigan, and a 42-year veteran prosecutor. Bill has served as a board member for Michigan Crime Victim Services and attended Albion College and the University of Detroit for law school. He will work full-time. Bill will work full-time on this project. And I've told Bill that the entire Department of Attorney General is at his disposal. Bill will do a great job. Bill Forsyth is a man of immense integrity. He has great skill and impeccable reputation. Bill Forsyth is the perfect choice to lead this investigation. I am also pleased to announce that Michigan State Police Colonel Christy Etchew and her team will be playing a significant role, a major role, in our effort. Christy and I enjoy a strong and positive working relationship. And thank you, Colonel, for being here today and your willingness to provide leadership and talent and skill of the Michigan State Police. I am very proud to stand with you, Colonel. At the end of this investigation, there'll be a report. It'll be public. It'll be transparent. And a report that will be available to all of you to read. We're going to put a bright light. We will put a bright light at every corner of the university. This will be done right, period. This will be done right, period. Now, the MSU Board of Trustees asked for the Michigan Department of Attorney General to conduct an investigation. I am, and I have been. Let me also add this. I don't need advice from the Board of Trustees at MSU about how to conduct an investigation. Frankly, they should be the last ones to be providing advice given their conduct throughout this entire episode. Their conduct throughout this entire episode speaks for itself. Today, I'll be sending the MSU Board of Trustees a letter asking that Mr. Patrick Fitzgerald turn over all information he has gathered in the course of his work to ensure that our investigation leaves no stone unturned. Now, their response to this simple request will speak volumes about MSU's willingness to cooperate in this investigation. Conversely, their failure to do so will also speak volumes. Let me conclude my remarks this way. We will meet with every victim. We will meet with every victim. We will listen to them and to keep survivors first and foremost as we pursue this investigation. Now I'd like Specialist Independent Counsel Bill Forsyth to make some remarks. Bill?
First of all, I'd like to thank the Attorney General for placing his trust in me for this investigation. This is a very, very important investigation. As he indicated, I've been doing this for over 40 years, and in my career, I've never seen anything with the scope and breadth of this particular investigation. I was honored when he called me to ask me that he would have the confidence in me to pursue this, and I intend to do that. I've always believed as a prosecutor that probably the most important function as a prosecutor is to represent the victims of crime. And in each case, I've always tried to view it as a seeking justice, searching for the truth, and doing the right thing. And that philosophy has pretty much guided me in my entire career, and it's the philosophy that I'll bring to this investigation. I found sometimes, regrettably, that doing the right thing is not always easy. It's not the easiest path to take, but I also have found certain things that guide you in that regard, one of which is politics has nothing to do with a criminal investigation, has no part in it at all. You also can't allow your preconceived idea of where you think the investigation should go, what you think the outcome should be, to drive the investigation. And quite frankly, I think that's in part what's gotten Michigan State in some trouble here, in the sense that they withheld certain information, maybe because it was going to put them in a better light, but you simply can't do that. I mean, first of all, as an attorney, it's unethical. And if you're a trial attorney, you stand up in front of a jury and you only present the evidence that supports your version of the facts and your side, you're going to have absolutely no credibility. So you can't let your preconceived ideas drive the investigation. You have to let the facts and the evidence drive the investigation and dictate what that particular outcome is going to be. And that's what I intend to do in this particular case. Now, I've done this for a long, long time, and I have to confess I've never seen anything like what has played out over the last couple weeks in Ingham County courtroom in the sentencing of Larry Nassar. There were a lot of emotions when I listened to what was going on. I was shocked, first of all. I was saddened by what had happened. I felt horrible for the victims. And quite frankly, I was outraged for what he had done. and there are a few other words I could use to describe that. I probably shouldn't use that on TV at the moment. But the point being, I also had the same kind of questions the Attorney General has talked about, and I'm sure many of you have. How was he allowed to engage in this behavior for almost 20 years? How could he victimize so many innocent young girls and young women for that long a period of time and no one caught him and stopped him? Who at Michigan State knew or was aware of what he was doing, because they had been told by some of these victims? And once told, what did the employees of Michigan State University do with that information? And lastly, why and how could no one have stopped this predatory conduct for almost 20 years? In this investigation, we intend to answer those questions. Those are answers I think we all demand. I think those are answers that the victims and their family are clearly entitled to, and those are answers that are long, long overdue. We also intend to look at the rules, the regulations, and the safeguards that were put in place at Michigan State to protect the victims of these crimes. Were they not sufficient that allowed this to happen? Or was it a case of the employees of Michigan State University not implementing the rules in such a fashion that it protected these young girls? If it's a case where it's human error in the sense that they chose, for whatever reason, not to implement the rules and the regulations, we intend to find out who that was and why they didn't do it. If it's a lack of rules and regulations, there's a hole there somewhere, we intend to make recommendations so this type of tragedy never happens again. Now, everybody, I'm sure, would like to get this done and wrapped up as quickly as possible. Well, quick is a relative term depending on the context in which you're using it. And to quote legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden, we're going to be quick, but we're not going to hurry. We're going to do a thorough job, and we're going to do this the right way. But you have to bear with us and remember what it is we're being asked to look at. This is almost 20 years of predatory conduct on the part of Nassar. There's been a change in administration at Michigan State during that period of time. There have been several athletic directors during that period of time, and I'm sure countless employees have come and gone during those 2 decades, and there are excess of 150 victims that we're going to need to talk to and address during the course of this investigation. So keep in mind, as quick as we can do this, we will, but we're going to be thorough and we're going to do it right, but it is going to take a great deal of time. And when we're done, I can't promise that everybody's going to be satisfied with our report and what we find, but I can promise you that we're going to work extremely hard at our task, and you will get our best effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Now I'd like to ask Colonel Etchew of the Michigan State Police to say a few words. Christy?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you. I want to say that the Michigan State Police, we welcome this opportunity to be called in now to assist the Attorney General and to fully investigate any kind of criminal sexual assault or any other crime that bring justice to the victims. I will say that the Michigan State Police, we will muster and dedicate whatever resources that will be necessary to work on specifically the criminal side of this investigation. My comments are brief here today because we've got to get to work, and we have literally thousands of pages of police report to review. So thank you, and I thank the Attorney General for bringing us in. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Christy. Hey, I know it's a Saturday. I thank you all for coming. You must have hundreds of questions. We've got hundreds of questions as well. And you know me, I'm very accessible. We're going to talk some more. But right now, we're going to get to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So major news out of Lansing on this Saturday afternoon. That was Attorney General Bill Schuette addressing the investigation that his office is conducting into Michigan State University over the Larry Nassar sexual assault scandal. Big news coming because he essentially has announced the team that he's put together that will conduct this investigation. And at the top of the list, leading this investigation into MSU, the independent special prosecutor is Bill Forsyth. Of course, he's well known, well respected. He's served 42 years as a prosecutor, and most recently served as the Kent County Chief Prosecutor and retired within just the past year or two. We also learned that Michigan State Police is going to be heading up the investigation as well. They're going to be the primary agency that will be helping Forsyth as he looks into this matter. We also learned today that Schuette is intending to ask Patrick Fitzgerald, that was a lawyer hired by MSU, to turn over his findings from an internal review that he conducted to figure out what happened. And you heard Forsyth there, some very, very strong words. He said, you know, what they want to know is who knew what and when at Michigan State University, who took action, who didn't take action. You heard that Bill Schuette said nobody, no department is off limits in this investigation, and they intend on focusing very closely on what happened at MSU and bringing all of the details out. You could hear multiple times they mentioned the survivors in the Larry Nassar case. You could hear them talk specifically about their goal to get justice for those survivors, and now this investigation will be a big part of that. So we have got much more that we're working on in light of the news that we just heard today. We're working on a full report. You can find that on woodtv.com. Also, if you missed any of the remarks, we'll have that on woodtv.com as well. But for now, we're going to send it back to your regular programming.